All right, y'all. Peace to the true and living. You want to know what a dangerous man is? We're going to get into that. A dangerous man, specifically a dangerous Muslim man. What comes to mind when you think of a Muslim man? I'm going to tell you what comes to my mind when I think of a proper Muslim man, a proper man, a proper masculine man, a dangerous man. So think about this. Let's clear your minds for a minute and visualize something. A loaded weapon with the safety on is more dangerous than one that has already fired and that round is spent, because that's empty. It's loud, it's finished. A loaded weapon says nothing. It sits there with the full weight of what it could do, choosing not to, okay? The silence is the most dangerous thing in the room. Think about that. The loaded weapon is quiet. What's loud? What's loud is the one that's firing off already. But guess what? It's spent. It's empty. The loaded one, that's the most dangerous part of it. The capacity, the potential, what could happen. That is the masculine Muslim dangerous man. Full capacity, zero noise, nada. Now listen, our modern society, civilization, this dunya, this world, this worldly world, it sells you two broken models of what a man is. One is the soft man, a soft man who confuses being gentle with being weak, right? And cannot protect anything because he carries no edge, okay? And there's another one, the brute. The brute is somebody who all he has is the edge. He has no internal governing, right? He breaks everything that he touches because he never learned how to hold the trigger. One has power that he can't really access, he can't get to. The other one, has access, power or potential power that he can't control. So is that really power? They both are powerful forms of entropy, self-entropy, okay? Now, this is very scientific. The math proves that the believer is the third thing. A believer, one who submits to Allah, a Muslim, right? Maximum power, maximum control. The two readings locked in equilibrium. But equilibrium is not one trait. Equilibrium is a system. The complete man stands on 5 pillars, and every pillar carries the other. Equilibrium is a system. It's a complete system. And there are 5 pillars, and we're going to get into that this evening, okay, or today. You pull one pillar out, and the structure leans. You pull 2 out, the structure fails. We build all 5. Today we're going through all 5, all right? The mind, the governed weapon, the wall, the provider, the prostration, which is most important. And by the time that we land, you will not be guessing what a dangerous man is. You have the blueprint. So fellas, you will have the blueprint if you don't already have it, or you have the complete blueprint of what a real masculine, a real dangerous, a real Muslim man is. And for the sisters that's in here, you too will have an understanding of what that proper man, that proper Muslim man, that proper dangerous man, that proper righteous man that you should be in counsel with. You'll know what that looks like by the end of this talk, okay? So we're going to get into movement 1, which is the mind, right? We are going to start where Allah started. The first word, who knows the first word Allah said when he gave us revelation, right? His first word to mankind, through the final messenger, was not to pray. It was not to fight. It was not to believe. It was to read. Iqra. The opening command of the entire revelation in Surah Al-Alaq. It's an order aimed straight at this right here, the intellect. In the name of your Lord who created. Read, right? Sit with that for a minute. Think about that, y'all. Who can relate to being young and asking about someone, about God or Jesus or whatever your religion was when you were young, and who you went to, they couldn't really answer it, or not logically. So they just say, son, you just gotta believe. God is mysterious. Believe. I was told that, and it just really bothered me because here I am, this young child thinking like, I'm believing what everyone tells me to a degree. Lord is this, God is that, this is that. But when I ask a question, a sincere question, nobody can tell me. I'm reading it, but it doesn't make sense to me, right? And they say, just believe God is mysterious. And I'm like, why would he do that? Like, why would God, being so loving, so mighty, so intelligent, create us with these logical gaps, right? Give us a book that I thought was Revelation, which was not. Some of it is, but, I'm talking about the Injil, the Bible. And this is not disparaging towards Christianity. We can get into that later, but I took the book as the gospel because I was a kid. I didn't know anything better. Nobody can ever tell me, what does this mean? Like, can we break this down? Right? So Islam is so beautiful because it doesn't tell you, just believe. It's mysterious. Like, no. Allah in our revelation tells us to read. The first thing it says. It don't say just believe, right? The Quran never lets that go, right? All throughout it, it asks the same question across hundreds of verses. Do you not reason? Do you not reflect? Do you not look at the camel, how it was built, at the sky, how it was raised? It does not beg you to feel. It orders you to think. How beautiful is that? How confident is that? That is the proper position how anyone should be. Read for yourself. I don't want anybody to blindly walk into anything. That's not wise. And Allah didn't create us for that. We have the ability to think and to question and to ponder for a reason. There's nothing that exists that there's no reason for anything that exists for us to not understand. Some things we just don't understand. We haven't applied the knowledge, wisdom to bring forth the understanding. But we go on an odyssey, on a journey, a sincere journey to understand it. All right. So the first pillar is the mind, right? Not options, not mood, a trained instrument that can take in reality and process it without breaking. Intellect is the difference between a man who is led and a man who leads, because the man who cannot think for himself will always rent his conclusions from somebody else who can. Here is the biology. Your brain is the most expensive organ that you own. 2% of your whole total body weight, but it consumes 30% of your energy, and it runs on one law. What you repeat, you become. Force yourself through a hard problem, and your neurons wrap themselves in a sheath called myelin. You're going to learn something today. Myelin, right? The signal moves faster. The path holds stronger. You are physically building the wiring of a man that you will be. Choose the cheap hit instead, the scroll, the clip, the dopamine that you did not earn, and you will train the opposite circuit. You build a brain that cannot sit with any difficult problem or anything difficult for that matter for long enough to truly understand it. Now, the cosmos, it rewards the one who studies it. The universe is not random and it's not a mess. It is written in math. The orbit of a planet, the spiral of a galaxy, the split of a cell, all of it runs on equations of a disciplined mind can read, right? Allah, he called the universe a book of signs, right? There's two books. The universe, Allah said the universe is a book of signs, right? Think about this. Ayat, right? That's the same word for a verse in the Quran, right? Two books. One you hold in your hand and one you stand inside. And the man who refuses to read either is walking through a library blindfolded and he's calling the darkness peace. Where's the logic? I see a lot of laziness in that, right? The world sells you content so that you stay a consumer. Remember, y'all, there's two types of people in this world. There are producers and consumers. And how our society, this Western world is set up to keep you in a position of a consumer, buying things, watching things, eating things, never creating things, just spending your money, spending your energy, spending your time, right? Making somebody rich and wealthy. The math proves that only about 5% are readers in this culture of scrollers. Are you a scroller or are you a reader? I'm putting all y'all on notice right now. People doing this too much, this way too much, right? We should be reading. Go back to reading, okay? They engineered an economy to keep your attention very shallow, right? Because a shallow man buys everything that he's told and he points wherever, he's aimed, right? So a deep man's mind is too expensive to control. Think about that. Make your too expensive to control. when you read, when you are studied, and you don't have to have a college degree for this to be a reality for you, okay? I'm not saying there's anything wrong with a college degree. No, not at all. Nothing wrong with higher education, but whether you acquire a higher education through traditional schooling or not, you continue on your education path, odyssey, the rest of your life, as you should, right? Now, let's go so movement 1 was the mind. Movement 2 is the governed weapon. Now we arm the man. A mind with no force is only a teacher, only a professor. A professor cannot protect his family from someone who decided tonight the rules don't apply to him, right? Knowledge has to be able to defend itself, or it gets erased by the first man willing to use his hands. Now, look at your own wiring. Inside of your skull, there's a war. This ancient little muscle or organ called the amygdala, right? That's the ancient alarm, the part that wants to swing first and never think, right? Instincts. And you have the prefrontal cortex, the governor behind your forehead that decides whether the alarm gets to drive the car. Now, in the untrained man, the alarm always wins. He gets cut off in traffic and his whole nervous system hijacks his body, right? His cortisol spikes, his heart rate spikes. He becomes a passenger in his own body, ruled by a reflex older than language, right? That man is owned by his feelings, by his emotions. Now, the trained man, the dangerous man, the truly dangerous masculine man, he builds the opposite circuit. The violence is there. The capacity is there. He turned red too, but it's all on demand, okay? It's not immediate. It's not reactive. The adrenaline and the speed and the intent to end a threat, but the governor outranks the engine. He feels a surge. He feel it. Get mad. I had a conversation with a brother today at the gym, and he was saying, he lost his cool this week, this and the third. I said, I understand. And he's talking to me like I don't get upset. I said, brother, I get pissed. You just don't see it. You have to control it, right? You feel that surge. I feel that surge all the time, but I hold it. I control it, right? Think about this. You're a boxer, right? With 1,000 rounds of sparring. That sparring carries a resting heart rate down in the face, but those hands could take a person's head off. Now, he still walks past the insult because the cortex outranks the rage. The capacity sharpened the control, right? You cannot govern a power you do not possess. Understand that what I want y'all to understand is understand what testosterone actually is, because the culture, our society lied to you about that as well. Testosterone is not rage. It's not like the rage chemical. It don't make you upset. It does not make a man swing. It is a status and a risk chemical. It pushes a man to compete, to build, to stand in front of the thing that everybody else runs from. And a man with no character, that drive leaks out and it becomes a bar fight. It becomes you yelling at automated customer service, just a computer. You're yelling at it because it's not doing what you want to do and it's not a person, right? In a man with character, though, that same drive builds businesses, holds a line, it raises sons. The hormone is just raw fuel. Your discipline decides whether it powers an engine or burns down a house. So let's just set the record straight. If somebody is taking exogenous testosterone, or if somebody just happen to have a high level of testosterone, a masculine dude, right? Some people call it roid rage when they see that behavior. It's not the roids, it's not the testosterone, it's not the natural chemical that's in the body. It's a man with no governor, no internal governor, a weak man that's doing this, that's being loud, that's causing a ruckus unnecessarily, right? Same man, or man over here with probably more testosterone, cool as a cucumber, cool as a polar bear's toenails, right? Because he has that control. It's not the fuel, it's how you articulate it. Now, our beloved messenger, peace be upon him, he settled this 1,400 years ago. Some of y'all who know scripture know this. The strong man is not the one who pins others to the ground. The strong man is the one who holds himself when that anger rises in him. That is from Hadith Bukhari and Muslim. So read that as physics, y'all. Strength defined not as output, but as a ratio between your power and your restraint. That's strength. The Quran names the believer by that exact trait, okay? The one who swallows his rage and pardons the people, okay? The man who can destroy and chooses mercy runs at a higher frequency than a man who simply cannot destroy at all. You feel me? One has restraint, the other one is just limited, right? He's not even peaceful. He's harmless. Men, I implore you, never be harmless. Be dangerous, but the right type of dangerous. Stay with me. Look up. Look all around you. Look up here. The most violent object that you will ever see is the sun, right? The sun is a hydrogen bomb that's been detonating without pause 4.5 billion years, fusing 600 million tons of hydrogen every second. Can y'all imagine burning at 15 million degrees in its core? That's pure power. I don't know what that's power, right? And guess what? It does not consume itself and it does not explode because it sits in perfect hydrostatic equilibrium. The outward force of the explosion and the inward pull of his own gravity is locked in. The violence pulls out, the discipline pulls in. The day either one wins, like whenever that happens, like is more output or more input, that's when that star dies. Our star dies, right? It blows itself apart or it collapses into a black hole. Ladies and gentlemen, we run on the same law, the same principle. The man with no fire gives no light. The man with no governor burns down the house. The world sells you a rage and calls it strength. The math proves that restraint is the only evidence the strength is even real. Think about that. Now we proceed to movement 3, which is the wall. The wall. A weapon with no aim is hazardous in its own house. So the third pillar gives a force of direction. Now, the man does not start the fire, right? He stands between the fire and the people who cannot put it out. Never the aggressor, but always the wall. The Quran draws this line with a blade so precise, so sharp. The same breath that permits a man to fight puts a leash on him. All right, so in Surah al-Baqarah, fight those who fight you, but do not transgress. Allah does not love the transgressors. In the supreme wisdom, we are never to be aggressive, but if someone is aggressive to us, belt to ass, right? Think about that. Defense, we're supposed to defend. Not just ourselves, but others who cannot defend themselves. Aggression in Islam is forbidden in the same line, right? It's forbidden by the same God. You're authorized to protect and barred from oppression. You cannot oppress, right? Listen, for those of you who don't know much about Islam, you want to know, what does it mean to be a Muslim? I'm telling you right now, I'm not giving you nothing from my own, what I think. This is all from Quran. This is all revelation from God. These are our rules. We are forbidden to be aggressive towards people. It's a sin, right? But we're also forbidden to not defend ourselves. And we're also, it's a sin for a strong man to not defend those who can't defend themselves. But we're never to be the aggressors. Y'all hear me? All right? Listen, this kind of man, he opens nothing. He is simply always ready to close it. We ain't starting nothing, but we will finish it. 100%. Now, the same book that commands his strength commands his fairness, even when fairness costs him. All right? Stand Surah Surah An-Nisa. Stand firmly for justice, witnesses for Allah, even against yourselves. A man who will only defend his own tribe, he's not just. You hear what I'm saying? A man who's only willing to defend his own people that look like him, you're not just. You're a mercenary, right? And you're carrying a flag, like as if that's elevating your station. It's not. The believers stand for the truth, even when the truth indicts your side, your tribe, your camp, okay? That is a line between honor and gang mentality, gang loyalty. Most men will never walk that line properly. You stay on your side. You stay in your lane. You stay with your tribe. You stay with your people, right or wrong. And that's wrong. My brothers, and then my tribe, my community, I love. However, I can't rock with you if you're doing wrong. If my people are doing wrong, or being aggressive towards others unjustly, I cannot condone that at all. And I can't, and I won't stand with it. My God forbids me to do that. That's why I be telling people, like, with Islam keeps me safe. It also keeps my enemies safe, because I have to be just with all people. It is what it is. And y'all think y'all know about Islam, but you really don't, okay? Now, here's the neuroscience about what I'm talking about, and it's very precise. Your brain does not run protection on the same circuit as it runs predation, okay? Being a predator. Offensive aggression, the cold drive to dominate for its own sake, fires one set of pathways. Now, defensive aggression, the surge that rises when someone or something that you love is being threatened, it fires another. It's something different. They're different machines. One predator, one's a guardian. Most men never learn which one they're running, okay? So they leak that predator energy into their own home, and they think that that's being strong or powerful. Then they go limp in the street, where the guardian was the one who actually is needed, right? The man of equilibrium keeps the predator caged and the guardian awoke. Now, courage is built. Brothers, this is a sincere talk with y'all, okay? Sometimes I know what it feels like to be afraid. Trust me. And sometimes, you may think like, dang, there's a lot of things that I don't know about you or nobody know about you, but you know, right? And there might have been times in which you've done something that might feel cowardice, like a coward, right? I'm here to tell you this. That's natural. Nobody's born brave, okay? We're not born courageous, okay? That is built. We have to train for that, okay? So the guardian feels the same cortisol, the same dry mouth, the same spike, the same fear that a coward feels. The difference, though, is the next move. He steps towards the danger while his body screams at him to run, because he has trained that single step so many times that it now overrides the alarm. Courage is from reps. We become courageous from reps. Reps are stepping into things that is scary, okay? Now look up again. Look all the way up here, all up there, right? Because the heavens already built the model. The heavens built the model. The earth is alive and Mars is dead. And the reason is a wall that you cannot see. You see deep in the earth, a core of molten iron turns. And that motion generates what's called a magnetic field, and it wraps around the entire planet. That field is called the magnetosphere. It sounds like science fiction. It sounds like a Voltron character, the magnetosphere. It deflects solar wind. The stream of radiation of the sun fires at us every second. It strips that shield away. No. If you strip that shield away, that magnetosphere, the wind tears the atmosphere off the planet. We know this because it already happened to our neighbors next door called Mars, right? Mars lost its magnetic field, lost its wall, and the solar wind stripped its air into space and left a frozen red corpse, okay? A planet with no wall cannot hold life. Neither can a home. You, fellas, you are a magnetosphere of your home, of your house. Invisible most of the days, most of the time, but you're felt on every one. The reason the people under your protection breathe easy without ever knowing what you stood in the path of, right? The world sells you a man. It promotes this kind of man who's either harmless or dangerous. The math proves the believer is harmless to the innocent and lethal to the threat, okay? On purpose and by demand, by design. I have a meme that I created a long time ago. It's me smiling, a rare picture of me smiling, and I'm saying, or the caption says, "It's a pleasure to be hated by the wicked." That should be your mentality. It should be pleasurable for wicked people to hate you, my brothers, all right? Now we're moving into movement 4, the provider. Now, some fellas, some brothers, the protector, the guardian is like, yeah, we got that because you got that warrior energy, right? But we got to work hard. We have to also be providers, okay? Strength that protects also produces. A man who can fight but cannot feed is only half a man. The fourth pillar is the load. Allah named the believing man Qawwam, Qawwam, okay? And the word carries weight into two directions at once. He stands guard and he stands as the maintainer, the one the whole household leans its weight on. In Surah and Nisa 434, men are the protectors and maintainers of the household. Men are the protectors and maintainers of the household. The messenger tied a man's entire to how he carries that particular load. He did not measure a man by his following or his frame or none of that, even by how much money or wealth he had. Because if you're not helping people, it's pointless. Nobody cares. He measured him by the people who depend on him when the cameras ain't on, okay? The best of you is the ones who is the best to his family, all right? That's now, he called the money a man spends on his household the best money he will ever spend. Ranked above charity, dropped in a stranger's hand. That is the best, right? That's the best. That's the better than putting coins in the or donations or whatever in the box at the masjid, right? Carrying your people is worship to Allah. Allah accepts that as worship when you, us, men, when we taking care of our people, when we're paying the bills for our folks, when we're making life easier for our families. The mission has a grocery bill, and the man who pays it without complaint is closer to Allah than the man who only talks about Allah. All right? I want y'all to really grasp the spirit of the things that I'm talking about, because you have people that seem very pious because they know all the words. They know all the Arabic words. They might even dress like what you think a Muslim dresses like. There's no how a Muslim dress. Beloved, let me tell y'all something right now. And I'm speaking to primarily American Muslims, and even more specifically, Black American Muslims. Some brothers have it twisted. Some brothers embrace a culture of Arabs as if that is Islam, and it's not. It has nothing to do with Islam, okay? You wearing jeans or a thobe is not, it's actually weird you wearing a thobe in a place where everybody wears jeans, okay? Not saying you have to be like or emulate people, but culturally, look, I've lived in the Middle East. I understand. When I went out there, my mind said, I ain't wearing no thobe like that. But that heat get on you so heavy, so severe. You understand why everybody dresses like that out there. It has nothing to do with Islam. The Muslims, the Christians, like everybody dresses the same way out there because it keeps the heat off your body. That's not a religious way of dressing. There's no such thing. The only thing religiously that we have to adhere to when it comes to how we dress is dressing modest. And yes, men have to dress modest just like women have to dress modest. If y'all see me, I'm always in hoodies. I'm trying my best to be modest and not be a show-off, okay? Because that's what Islam is about. It's not about wearing a thobe. That's not Islamic, okay? Or a kufi. It's cool. It's good. I can identify when I see a Muslim. I don't care what they got on. And it's good to know, to be able to identify with each other. But you dressing like somebody that live across the world that's not it. And listen, when I told you I lived out there before, right? I lived in Ras Al Khaimah. Shout out to the rack boys. This is what I peep. A lot of Westerners. And listen, I'm not coming down on my brothers, but this is something to be mindful of because people can get lost in the sauce with things. I'm around Canadian brothers, Australian, American, British. It's just us. And they're struggling talking Arabic to each other, like trying to talk Arabic. And it's like this weird, they can't really understand each other. I'm like, why y'all talk English? Just communicate. Like, you speak English. There's no Arab speaking people here, right? And listen, when you're over there, you know the main language out there is English, right? So it's like, why are you doing that? What are you trying to do? And then some of them will be like, yo, these people they racist. Not my experience. What I see is you trying to emulate them and they think you're corny. Just like we would think somebody who wasn't of us coming over here trying to act like us, like, bro, all right, it's funny, it's cute, right? You don't take people serious when they're not being themselves. And that's what happened. What I see, I've seen that with my own eyes in the Middle East. Right? Islam, just for the record, Islam is not a Middle Eastern religion. It doesn't belong to a region and it don't belong to a people. It existed before humans was on this earth. It is submission to Allah, submission to God's will. Nature submits to God's will. A tree submits to God's will. That is Islam. That is a Muslim, not a person born in this place or that place. There's nothing. That means nothing, okay? All right? So let's get back on course. Let's look at psychology, because the body keeps scoring this one that I'm talking about in particular. A man, we're talking about provision and men providing, right? Y'all stay with me. A man is built. We are literally built to carry weight. Give him a load worth carrying, a wife, children, a people, a purpose, and his whole system organizes around that. He sleeps better, he drinks less, he stands straighter. If you strip the load away, retire a man early and see what happens. Cut his roll. Tell him he's not needed. Discombobulates. Yeah, you can't handle that because that's not our natural position. The research on men with no purpose, it doesn't look good. They drink. They have this dystopian, despair outlook on the world, right? They die early because they don't have nothing to live for. A man is a load-bearing structure. Remove the load, and he does not relax. He collapses inward. He implodes like a black hole. And the drive to provide is wired into a man's chemistry. Testosterone is not only about competition, it's about acquisition, about walking into a hostile world and coming back with something to lay at the door. This is why a man who cannot provide feels a specific kind of death. No chart fully captures, but only an honest man can articulate or recognize that on sight. He's built to bring something home. When he can't, the engine has no work. And the engine with no work tears itself apart. Some of my brothers out there, I feel that pain. It's hard. It's hard out here in this world. I'm not going to act like it's not. And the dominant factor that be on our minds is like, yo, I got to make more money. I got to be able to be a better provider. I don't know nobody. Listen, and this is crazy how they tell these stories in these narratives. I'm a black man and I have mostly black friends. Now I have white friends, Hispanic friends, friends of all denominations. But let me talk about black men, because I know them intimately because I am one. Black men, they say that we're not fathers. Like, whenever I see like racists having their debates and they say, oh, what about your father? You guys don't have fathers. Every black man that I know is a good father, that have children is a good father. I don't know what kind of numbers or fake numbers or fake news they're throwing out there. And our biggest plight is always how to do a better job, how to make more money, how to be able to, and then we have networks to where one of my brothers, one of my homies will hit me up because I'm of age now. My sons are adults, young, very young, but still adults. So my friend's the same. And my friend might hit me like, tell me about his junior. He ain't listening to me. Talk to him. Because it's like they might listen to Unc because they don't want to listen to Dad. So we tag team. So I'm taking him and I'm mixing him up, but I'm giving him wisdom from his father, and it's working. We have to be intelligent. Remember hikmah, right? In Islam, hikmah is a spiritual wisdom. It's the best type of wisdom, because you might have the knowledge, the information, but you have to be intelligent about how you deliver the information. You have to land the plane. You have to do it at the right time. You can't do it to where you're pushing a person away. You have to be effective with your communication and with the words and with the wisdom. And that's what it's about. All these black men I see, and I know, excellent fathers, phenomenal fathers. I would not be where I am and who I am without my father. In particular, shout out to my pops, one of the wisest men I know, right? So let's get back to this frame and let's get back to some of the wisdom that's in nature, in the universe. I need y'all to look up one more time. Look up, right? The same star, our sun, which is a star, in the second pillar, the sun taught you about control. Here, in the third pillar, it teaches you about provision. That guy up there, right? That controlled explosion does not hoard energy. It pours it out. 93 million miles across the cold, empty space. And that light, it becomes the sugar in a leaf, right? The green in the grass, then the animal, then the muscle on your back. Every calorie you ever eaten was sunlight that we got from the sun. The sun gave us that. Everything that we eat, every calorie comes from the sun. The most powerful object in your sky spins itself on everything beneath it. That's what we're supposed to do. You feel me? A reservoir that never releases, right? What happens? It becomes stagnant and it breeds like pungent, formidable odors. It breeds disease. A river that keeps moving carries life the whole way down, okay? The world sells you, it articulates a man who accumulates for himself. Just fucking greedy. Excuse stuff a lot, right? That's how we have gluttons on the throne. That's why your president is fat. That is a He is physically, spiritually, literally, and figuratively fat because he hoards. He just takes whatever he wants. He keeps taking. Is no out. The math proves that the strong man is a conduit, measured not by what he holds, but what he moves through himself to others. Y'all understand? So we went to 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're at 5. Movement 5. This is the most important, so I need y'all to really tap in, really focus and pay attention right now. Get ready to take some notes. 5, the prostration. The prostration. We are 4 pillars in, and we have a dangerous problem. A man with a sharp mind, a governed weapon, a guardian's courage, and a provider's back is also the most dangerous animal on the planet if he answers to nobody but himself. Intellect without submission curdles and it gets deformed and becomes arrogance. Strength, when you have and you are strong and powerful and you don't submit, you become a tyrant. Provisions with no submission produces a man who believes he is God of his own little kingdom. The first 4 pillars build a powerful man. The 5th decides whether that power blesses the world or terrorizes it. So the man kneels 5 times a day. He stops the empire, right? 5 times a day, he's stopping everything, right? He takes the highest part of his body, right? His face, the seat of his pride, and he puts it on the floor, lower than his own feet. Why? He's doing that in front of the one who outranks him. We call that sujud, S-U-J-O-O-D. The most accomplished man in the room with his forehead on the same ground, y'all. How fire is that? Everyone walks on that ground. Boom. In humility, because in front of Allah, the rank, my rank, your rank is nothing, is 0. That single posture is the whole religion in one motion. Islam means submission, right? It means alignment with the source of the power that you've been borrowing this whole time. This is not ours. We're nothing without God. And the universe is already doing it, right? This is the part that should move you. Y'all should feel this right now, all right? Every created thing is in submission, whether it consents to it or not. The electron holds its orbit. The planet holds its lane. The sun and the moon, the Quran says, is run by the exact calculation. The mountains, the trees, the stars, all of it bows to the law that assigned it creation. Right? To Allah prostrates whoever in the heavens and the earth, the sun, the moon, the stars, the mountains and trees. That's in Surah Al-Hajj 22:18. You, me, we're weird. We're the exception, right? The human and the jinn are the only creations that have a choice, right? Every atom around you is already in orbit. You're the only thing in this room, wherever you at, that can refuse it to stay in your lane. You can do that, right? And here's a trap. Here's a trap that you might not know exists. You're going to bow to something. You have no choice. You're going to bow to something. You're built to, right? So if you don't bow to Allah, you're going to bow to your appetite. You're going to bow to your image, your fears, the algorithms, right? There's no man alive who bows to nothing. It's impossible. There is only a man who chooses his master and the man who got handed one in the dark. The prayer is also engineering. 5 times a day, you stop, you breathe, you drop your heart below your head. Guess what happens? It floods your brain with blood, right? You pull the nervous system out of the chase and back into stillness. This is a great benefit for us. This is a neurochemical benefit to us. This is a physiological benefit to us. This is a medical benefit to you, right? The discipline of returning on schedule, whether the feeling is there or not, it builds the exact muscle every other pillar needs. The man who can make himself bow on time can make himself do anything on time. The world try to create this false perception and persona like, yo, you can be your own God, right? The math prove itself, that's not it, right? This is a brutal God. And the freest man alive is the one who answers to the highest authority above him instead of the lowest appetite inside of him. It could be food, it could be alcohol, it could be drugs, it could be women that's not your woman. It could be anger, you know? This is what keeps the safety on the weapon. Not the law, not the cameras, not the fear of other men. It's the forehead on the floor. This is the whole man, the whole dangerous man, the whole dangerous, masculine, mighty, intelligent Muslim man. It's 5 pillars all into one structure. Now stand the man up and look at him whole. He reads so he cannot be fooled. He keeps himself armed so he'll never be bullied. He aims so that he's never the aggressor and never the bystander, right? This man, this powerful man, this mighty, intellectual, intelligent, calm, masculine Muslim man, he carries what he needs, or no, what the people need, so everybody around him can eat and sleep without fear, without worrying. And he bows so that none of it goes to his head, okay? Take away the mind, and he's a thug. He got good intentions, though, but he's a thug. Take away his force, and he's a good idea that no one can respect. You don't have respect for this guy. That's what happens. If you're not a dangerous man, people don't respect you. Take away his aim, and he becomes a danger to everybody around him, okay? Take away the load, and he's just a boy in a grown man's body, and it gets weird. That gets very weird. Take away the prostration, and he's a tyrant waiting for his moment. And any 4 without the 5th is a deformity. It's not right. All 5 locked together and carrying each other, equilibrium. That's the only configuration that holds proper under pressure. That's not a personality type. That is called equilibrium, my friends. So let's do this. Let's land the plane. Let's land the plane, right? You walked in asking, what's a man or what's a dangerous man? I know you've seen the thumbnail, it says dangerous man. Now you have a full reading of what that is. 5 instruments, all level, mind, force, aim, load, and the bow. 5, right? They all govern each other. You know what I'm saying? You hold them together and you fly. You are him. You drop any one and you spin, you spiral, okay? Now, here's the ground. This is the ground, y'all. Some moment soon, there's going to be a test. I promise you, bro. It's going to be a test. There's going to be a problem that demands your mind on a day that you don't feel like it. You don't want to. You want to coast. A man who reaches for your worst self, right? A weak person who needs your wall while everyone else is looking away. A weight that lands on your back that no one is coming to lift. A morning, the call to prayer, it just cuts that perfect sleep, that bomb sleep, right? You hear it, and you're still sleepy, right? Every one of those is a tower clearing you to land, right? You do not swing wild, you do not fold, you don't go soft, you hold the line. You level the wings and you lay it down clean. You land it clean. You land the plane, mind sharp, your hand steady, safety on, forehead ready for the floor. That is the masculine Muslim man. That is the mighty, the dangerous, the intelligent, the calm, the peaceful, the humble, the polite, the generous Muslim man. Loaded, but calm, dangerous and governed. That is a soldier, a student, a shield, a provider, and the servant all in one body, at peace. On his face, he's just calm, right? And he's here for the one who outranks him. That's Allah, okay? And that's like, out of reach. That man is disconnected from pleasing the world because he pleases Allah and he does everything to please Allah. And with that, inadvertently, he's pleasing everybody else. He's not focused on that, okay? So that's like, y'all hear me a lot. You may not hear me a lot saying dangerous, man. Stay dangerous, hashtag stay dangerous. That's a refined man, okay? Powerful man with refinement, okay? You have to have a governance. You have to have measure. You have to have patience or sabr in order to tap into that true masculine form, that true Super Saiyan form, all right? To really be looked at as that's a Muslim man right there. I got to send a shout out to some brothers. Brother Maz, when I look at him, that's a Muslim man. My brother Fahim, that's a Muslim man. Fahim is one of the brothers that got me studying the Quran more because whenever we would build, we had some good builds. He'd be quoting the Quran. I'm like, right up, It's brothers that like I just stay around who all they do is work, provide for their family, but provisions is more than just the food, clothing, the shelter. It's the intellect, it's the wisdom. When we are reading and studying, it's not just to have knowledge for information. That's silly. That's pointless. It's literally pointless, okay? It's to use that information for the people that we love. We have better means of governance when we're intelligent, when we are feeding our minds with information. All right. That's what it's all about. It ain't about us or me. Nothing I do is for me. And I want y'all to hold that perspective as well for yourselves. You want to strengthen yourself for other people. Okay. When you make your prayer and you go into dua and you're talking directly to Allah, pray for other people. Pray for other people. And when you pray for yourself, this is just a suggestion. You do what you want to do. But I suggest when you pray for yourself, you're praying for yourself to Allah, make me more obedient. Make me a better, more useful person for the people in my world. Make me more patient. Allah, give me a better means of understanding what people are saying to me. Allah, give me more governance over my tongue. Allah, help me speak less. Allah, make me more economic with my words so I can say less but land more. But most of all, Allah, make me more obedient. Make me pray one time. Don't let me miss. Right? These are the things that we want to pray for, y'all. If I catch you, I ain't gonna catch you because I ain't God. But don't be praying for cars. You know what I'm saying? Nah, pray for whatever you want. Anyway, that's it for today, y'all. I hope y'all enjoy this piece. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. I got to say this, though. I am not a scholar. I'm not a religious scholar. There are brothers and sisters out there who are legitimate scholars. They're wonderful. I'm just a humble servant. I do study. I have, scholars that I do sit in council with. I run ideas and concepts by to make sure I'm okay and I'm not exceeding or outside of jurisprudence of any kind of Islamic laws and teachings and so on and so forth. But I'm not a scholar, okay? But I think that I do stay within what is true and exact, right and exact with revelation, because that's all I'm doing. All I talk about is what I get from the Quran. It's not me. All right. Anyway, we out of here, y'all. Peace.